Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steven Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found, and of course, taped live at the Twitch, twitch.tv/Steven Larson. Of course, simulcast on the YouTube as well. No cool intro screen today. I remember that was the last thing I forgot to do today. I had everything done in advance, Larson. I had the little text scroll done in advance. I put up the live stream notification early. And then the last thing I didn't do was that darn, let's see, this thing right here that goes, dude. Look at that. Oh, it's so great. It's got Briscoe in it. Here it is, everybody. It looks so awesome. Anyways, welcome back.
There's a lot of moving parts. It may not seem like it. There's a lot of moving parts to get this show together.
I was thrown off by yesterday because yesterday was kind of a mess. So as many people who might have noticed when they were watching it on VOD especially, but I know people watching live understand as well. We were having some stream issues yesterday. The main thing, like there was one story that y'all missed, and it was honestly like such a brief story, and we covered it for like a minute, and then we started talking about the Royal Rumble. But it was the idea that the Raw segment for Raw 30 that we got last night, the acknowledgement ceremony that it was supposed to be, and then it got changed to Sami Zayn's trial, was changed not because of Vince McMahon was meddling, as per rumor had it. It was because the rest of the bloodline, they couldn't show up. It was Afa Sika couldn't travel, and then Rikishi got ill. So there was nobody to acknowledge him. Yeah. And contrary to what Triple H had said yesterday in our show, they weren't going to bring in a bunch of fake Anoa'is.
Yeah. But if you do want to hear it, not see it, hear it, that's still on the audio version of the show. Yeah,
we kept that bit on the audio version.
So it's there if you're interested in it.
And we made that decision because it was like, and then when I listened to it back, I was like, it's really nothing it's a bit of non-news, but it was interesting non-news. I mean,
yeah.
Honestly, half of pro wrestling news is non-news these days, man.
Yeah.
Anyways, on today's episode, we're going to be talking about Raw Triple X full penetration. We didn't get any full penetration, but
no, of course not. It's on basic cable.
There were some fun bits about it. There were some things that were sort of questionable.
Yeah,
some questionable decisions, and we're going to talk about all that as we hit the road to WrestleMania. And then let's see here. Also, we've got a little bit of news before we get to this news about who Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stone Cold's going to wrestle at WrestleMania. Find out who I'm going to wrestle. As my cat barks in the background.
Oh, well, I couldn't hear it.
You couldn't hear that, really?
No.
Well, maybe they can't either. I don't know. Anyways, let's talk about this really quick. Right now on the Patreon, patreon.com/Steven Larson. And also for YouTube channel members, we've got Overrun this week. We're going to be doing Numbers Don't Lie on the Young Bucks.
Survey for that's up right now.
It is available right now. And then also we've got, what do we got? We got a Nitro review that's available exclusively. Nitro episode 1 that's available right now. And then I know, and then Smash Zone. We've got episodes, old episodes, and then like newer episodes are going to be uploaded to the Patreon and the YouTube channel memberships. We also have something cool coming up this week. We're changing up how we do predictions this year.
Yes.
We're going to do... Would this be considered like a sweepstakes or a lottery?
No, it would be a lottery.
They have to do stuff.
Yeah.
So we're including our $5 net patrons and our YouTube channel members in predictions this time around. And it's going to be try to beat Larson. Because as you know, Larson ended last year as predictions champ.
Forever champion.
Forever champion, in his words. But we're going to allow you guys the opportunity to become forever champions. And get something. We're going to figure out what we're going to get. We're going to do a giveaway. You don't get Big Red. You get we'll send you we'll give you a little digital Big Red maybe. A wallpaper you could put on your phone. Hey, that's not a terrible idea.
You can print it off and safety pin it to your shirt around your waist.
Right, yeah. You could print out like an iron-on or something.
Sure.
But we're going to be doing, our predictions video is going to be going up on Friday morning. The details will be there over at the Friendo Club TV channel. So be sure to subscribe over at the Friendo Club TV channel. And yeah. You get the opportunity. Are you smarter than Larson when it comes to predictions?
The bar isn't that high, so probably.
It's like Von Wagner at the PC. Can you do better than Larson? Anyways, so yeah, that should be fun. I'm interested to see how many people throw their predictions.
So it's not just who wins individual matches. Since this Rumble, it's Iron Man and Woman, most eliminations, Final Four. There's all those prop bets as well.
Oh, perfect. So here in the YouTube chat, what's up, YouTube? By the way, rumor has it, if we get 200 likes on this YouTube video before the show is in, before the questions are done with the show today, Paul will call in. Triple H will call in with his thoughts about last night.
He's got a lot explaining to do about that cage match. I'll tell you
he does have some splaining to do. But no, people in the YouTube chat are saying you get a Big Red NFT.
Yeah, more or less.
Which just is going to be a digital image of Big Red.
Exactly.
Anyways,
you get the Big Red NFT without feeling the guilt about having it on the blockchain, using all that energy, environmental damage, and such.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
We're just going to email you a link to probably a PNG, an alpha background.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
You do what you want with it.
Just do whatever you want with it. Doesn't matter. Anyways, let's talk about this. Stone Cold Steve Austin had a match last year at WrestleMania. In fact, I kind of had two of them. Following recent reports that The Rock won't be ring ready by WrestleMania 39 to face Roman Reigns, Fightful Select dropped a huge scoop. They were told that there was an internal pitch within WWE for Stone Cold Steve Austin, or from Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, four, sorry.
Okay, for Stone Cold Steve Austin to face the, hey, listen up, I got an idea. I face Roman Reigns, I'll win next bitch. Anyways, for Stone Cold to face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, quote, Austin's camp was approached with the possibility of it happening, which was said to have been for enormous money. Fightful adds that their sources hadn't heard whether the offer was accepted or not, while another source added that, quote, another big name was offered in the months prior. Who could that second big name be? Dave Meltzer might have given us an answer because he reported during last night's Wrestling Observer Radio that Brock Lesnar was pitched as a possible opponent for the Texas Rattlesnake, saying the match that was pitched was not Roman Reigns, it was Brock. It's not on. Something can happen now. It's been talked about probably for months. Next bitch.
Yeah. I mean, it seems based on Fightful's report that it's entirely possible that it could have been Roman and Brock. It's not exclusively just Brock, you know?
Yeah, right.
You know, Sean Ross Sapp has a great track record.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he does.
With his reports. So if he's reporting that sources have told him that there was a pitch made internally for Stone Cold versus Roman, I tend to believe him.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with that. You know what all this tells me? That they are bound and determined to have Roman Reigns beat a big name opponent at WrestleMania. Doesn't that preclude the idea that Cody Rhodes is going to beat Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, Larson?
Well, I mean, I guess it could preclude it because Roman Reigns could beat Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania.
That is a very good point. But it feels like between The Rock and now they're trying to offer other big names that match, they want him to come out of WrestleMania with the Universal Championship at least, and move on to a post-Mania run with it somehow, some way.
Yeah, I guess, you know, the creative plan seemingly for years, and for sure ever since they announced that 39 is going to happen in LA after it was canceled a couple of years back, they want that huge moment for Roman to kind of solidify this run of his as an all-time run.
Yeah, right.
And part of that, in WWE's mind, means having him beat some legend. Mm-hmm. Ideally, it would be The Rock, given the family connection.
They want like a Mount Rushmore name, dude.
Yeah,
That's what they want.
They do.
Yeah.
And if it's not The Rock, there's not the inherent story there with Stone Cold as there would be with The Rock. But if you just want Roman Reigns to beat somebody who has, as you mentioned, is a Mount Rushmore name, then probably the only other person they can get that's on Rock's level is Stone Cold.
It's the only other name. They did Goldberg at last year's Elimination Chamber or something like that, or Saudi. I forget what it was.
It was.
What was it? Yeah, anyways.
I don't remember.
They've already done Goldberg, and he's sort of the only, it's like Rock, look, man, you and I both feel the same way about Bill Goldberg, but in terms of name recognition, how WWE seems to view him, I'm not going to say he's Rock or Stone Cold, but he's like there. He's like...
He's a level below.
He's a level below. And then it's like Goldberg and Brock. You know what I mean? And then and then after that, it's like everybody else. But yeah, I mean, look, I don't know. I don't know what... will this match even be good? Like, does that matter? I feel like they've got so many great stories right now for Roman Reigns that anything that Stone Cold Steve Austin, look, I'm a huge Stone Cold fan, don't get me wrong, and I thought what they did with him and Kevin Owens last year was a little weird in the build because they wouldn't call it a match.
And it was.
And then it was. And he was like, he's wearing like the shirt, and it was just, I don't know, it just didn't, it was fine, it was fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
But like, I don't know, I just feel like they've got so many cool stories that are like leading, like it's like the story. I'm sorry, like I've said this for a while now, and last night's trial of Sami Zayn made me feel this even more, that this is what long-term storytelling in wrestling can be, and honestly has never really been in WWE anyways. This is
consistently, at least. Yeah.
This is a generational story, and if they have distinct plans that part of the story beat includes Roman beating a legend at WrestleMania, then that's fine. It's like then they've earned the benefit of the doubt. I just think WrestleMania, Sammy, Cody, Kevin Owens, like a name that's involved with the current product would be my preference. But I understand they're a big business that's trying to get the company sold. They want to do the biggest WrestleMania match possible. And if Rock feels like he's not, in shape, and Stone Cold's like, yeah, give me a giant bag, then that's cool, I guess. That's
fine.
A big pop. That's a huge pop.
Yeah, it's fine, and that's a huge win for Roman if when he gets the win over Stone Cold. That being said, if I'm going to have two part-timers, two legends involved in a match that they can bill as something really huge, like Brock versus Stone Cold, and it's something they can kind of keep on this little isolated piece of the show, that people who are really into that match can watch that part of the show and get into that match. It doesn't really involve any of the main title stuff.
Yeah,
I vastly prefer that, because for the main title stuff, I want people that are there on a regular basis, participating in all that.
I agree. Yeah.
Again, Roman versus The Rock is a very special thing, given that they're family, and so much about Roman's story is about family.
Yeah.
And so having Roman beat The Rock is not just huge, hey, I beat The Rock, but in terms of the story they're telling with Roman is a huge deal. I get that. That aspect of it is missing if Stone Cold is his opponent. It's just, all right, I'm gonna beat a legend at WrestleMania. You don't get the same gravitas to the story with Stone Cold that you would with The Rock.
Yeah, I agree. To me, and this is just for me, and I understand that there is an element of, you and I talk about this, the older you get, seemingly, the more bulletproof you are in wrestling, like the more powered up you are.
Yeah.
But isn't there a weird juxtaposition where just last night on Raw 30, we saw Stone Cold's contemporaries, DX, all say, we don't want to face Gunther, which I thought was cool for that moment, because it really put over Gunther. Like, oh man, we're too scared of this guy. He's he's going to chop the shit out of us.
Yeah.
But all of them, including Kurt Angle, were like, I don't want to fight this guy. He's too old. Well, one of their contemporaries, Stone Cold Steve Austin, he's supposed to be powered up enough to fight Roman Reigns. I don't know. It's just, you and I often talk about how the rules of the stories, right? The rules of the universe they have built have to be somewhat consistent.
Yes.
And I guess it's a different set of rules for Stone Cold, because maybe the theory is he just hasn't wrestled as much, and so he's got, more. I don't know what it is, man. I don't know
what it is either. But yeah, I get your point. I mean, the rule book is a sketch pad. If you have an idea for a rule, we saw that the last couple of weeks with how they treated tag matches, where Adam Pearce is like, all right, someone's hurt, you can't compete, you lose. And I'm like, no, that's usually what they do is to stop the match.
Yeah.
And it's declared no contest. Now suddenly it's something else.
Let's talk about, before we move on, let's talk about the idea that Stone Cold versus Brock Lesnar could have a match. How the hell is Stone Cold going to have a match against a guy who just German suplexes the shit out of everybody?
Yeah, he wouldn't be able to do the German suplexes.
Unless he's got like super duper gamma radiation stem cells.
Well, I mean, like, what they could do is follow the template they had with Kevin Owens, which not make it a match per se. I mean, it was a match because bell rang, there was a winner, but not have it be in the ring, have it go all over the place. Maybe Brock hits one F5, Stone Cold kicks out, stunner, Stone Cold beats Brock, something like that.
Yeah.
Where it's not so much Stone Cold going to Suplex City 16 times or something like that. Much less, I don't know how he's going to take a German suplex. So you avoid a lot of the stuff that Brock would normally do in the ring, and just make it a wild brawl outside of the ring that culminates with a couple moves. Done.
Yeah. How about this booking here? Mayor Planet Houston says, reverse an F5 into a stunner. Match ends in 10 seconds. Crowd is shocked. You're not going to pay Stone Cold $10 million or whatever the obscene amount's going to be. You're not going to pay him that much money for like a 10-second match. They're going to do what you just said and do like a brawl. But because also like a 10-second match, that would simply set up another match, which I don't know if Stone Cold would want to do another one with Brock. But I don't know. I mean, look, Stone Cold obviously has been getting in phenomenal shape. Yeah. Maybe given the advancements in medicine, you know, he could take a couple German suplexes. I wouldn't want to see it, to be honest with you. I'd be like, oh my God, that's terrifying. But I don't know, man. If Stone Cold, if they sort of if they paid him just shitloads of money to actually show up for a build and they told like a decent story and I was able to buy into it because of that, then I'd be down with it. You know, maybe all they would need is a cool Limp Bizkit music video to cut together in the build.
There you go.
Know, My Way Part 2. Do that.
Yeah, you could do that. You could do that. Some other Limp Bizkit song. I'm not
familiar
enough with their oeuvre to know anything other than like Break Shit and the hits. Rollin',
My Way.
That's Undertaker's theme.
Rollin'. We didn't even get that last night.
No.
Boy, I don't want Kid Rock. I want Limp Bizkit. I want some Rollin'. Fred Durst, he's the director of kids movies, family movies. What did friggin' Kid Rock ever do?
Nothing.
That's the right answer. Oh, man. Anyway, so Raw 30 last night. Do you think Raw 30 was booked significantly different in terms of how they used the legends than what Vince McMahon would have done?
Not at all. It was, for the most part, pretty much in line, I felt like. They dedicate numerous segments. Of course, he had the poker stuff, so you can get as many legends in as possible in, one scene. DX had their funny bit out in the ring. No, I didn't seem too far removed from how Vince would approach booking the legends. With one exception, in that if Vince was booking things, DX would have squashed Imperium.
I think that is a big difference, and I think you're right about that. I also don't think we've seen Undertaker in that thing that he did with LA Knight, which on one hand was really cool, on the other hand, it sort of buried LA Knight.
Oh, yeah, it totally did.
Yeah.
LA Knight will be fine. He manages to get himself over regardless where he goes. He'll be fine.
Yeah, no, he'll totally be fine, but it was just kind of funny.
But at least here's the thing. At least it wasn't Undertaker hitting him with a choke slam. He just choked him and handed it over to Bray, and the Bray hit him with Sister Abigail. It wasn't necessarily Undertaker putting LA Knight down like a dog.
And actually, that would
Bray to do it.
Given, it is kind of funny though, because like given how, we just talked about DX, they're all old dudes who are, on the verge of retirement. I guess maybe the difference is because Undertaker had such longevity and he had that mystique about him that he was pretty much able, with some exception, he was able to maintain and hold on to. Maybe that's, part of the difference. That's why it's still plausible for him to come out. You think DX would have shied away from a fight with LA Knight?
No.
And super kick pedigree, whatever the road dog thing is that he did.
Oh yeah, and the X Factor,
and then a Bronco Buster to finish it off.
Yeah,
that was the most powerful move of them all, man.
Yeah. Let's talk about the opening. The opening hour to Raw last night was fantastic. You had an awesome segment. Early contender for segment of the year 2023. This might be the best segment in the entirety of the Bloodline storyline. The trial of Sami Zayn was awesome. Edge of your seat stuff. Emotional roller coaster. Sami about to get kicked out of Bloodline? No. Jey Uso, who, in terms of the story, you would have thought would be the last person to stand up for Sami Zayn, although we kind of thought that was where this would be going. Takes up the role of Sami Zayn's defense attorney. It presents exhibits A through E, I believe, a wealth of video footage to show that Sami Zayn is, in fact, not colluding with Kevin Owens to tear apart the Bloodline. He is, in fact, perhaps one of the Bloodline, if not the most loyal member of the Bloodline.
And with Paul Heyman there in ECW territory, playing the role as the overzealous prosecutor.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this segment was great. I mean, in terms of being segment of the year, dude, there are so many Bloodline segments. Well, I mean, we're in January, so, you know.
Yeah.
So
the bar is very high, though, because this is really well done.
Early contender. In terms of like the entirety of Bloodline segments across 2022 and 2023, this is really high up there. I'm not sure if it beats the one with the shirt.
Yeah, that was good too.
Because the one with the shirt was so good. But this, when Jay spoke up, man, oh man, we all flipped our lids.
Yeah. When he grabs Solo's arm, Solo's about to give Sammy the Samoan spike, and Jake gets out of his chair and grabs his arm.
Dude, and again, this is, and it makes me want to get too deep into this conversation, but this is not, I believe, a segment we would have gotten under Vince McMahon. Mm-mm. I think that the Bloodline stuff would have just sort of kept on meandering.
This would have been People's Court theme.
Oh my God, you're right. Yeah,
you know.
But like this is what wrestling can be, and probably for like 20 years now. You know, I mean, you can even go back further, perhaps, but you know, there was some good stuff in the Attitude, Ruthless Aggression. But like for too long, I'll say it hasn't been this. And the idea that, like you said, Jey Uso for the longest time was so anti Sami Zayn. And as you know, when you're so anti something, when you find it in you to then turn with that thing, oftentimes it's human nature to go all in on that thing. And that's what happened with Jey Uso. We saw actual like logical human character development like play out and climax last night. Oh man. And dude, it was fucking outstanding.
It was really good. It
really was. It was from beginning to end. It was outstanding.
And then they had the Usos defend their tag titles against Judgment Day following that, which is a smart move. And the way the story of that played out is Jimmy suffered a worked injury. Sammy had to replace him. So now the pressure is on Sammy to prove, because at the end of the trial, Roman says, I find you not guilty for now. You have one final test at the Rumble.
Ooh, man.
This is Sammy proving that he is all in on the bloodline. Yeah. And he comes in and he helps Jay score. They scored the win and retain the tag titles. But every time Sammy is pinned, you're like, oh gosh, is he going to lose the titles for Jay and Jimmy just right after Jay stood up for him?
And
how heartbreaking would that be?
By the way, the camera direction, the TV direction, and this is when you have to give credit to a guy who typically gets shit on, Kevin Dunn. Some of these near falls where he had the person interrupting the pinfall, off camera, so they're jumping in at the last second. Some of this TV direction was simply brilliant. It really was.
It was.
But also, dude, I don't want to let go of the fact that they set up, it's funny because Adam Pearce talked about protocol with this stuff. And we joked about that because, as you said, the rule book is a sketch pad.
Yeah.
But the fact that they did, in fact, they did foreshadow this with the Judgment Day and how they continued their match in the gauntlet a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. That is when you set this shit up and say, okay, how do we get from here to here? Okay, we got this trial of Sami Zayn. They weren't even going to do that. We're going to do the acknowledgement ceremony. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I have no idea. Like if this was just fortuitous, they're like, hey, we did this with the Judgment Day. We can now do this here as a further way for Sammy to prove any wins a tag titles. Do you think it was like a happy accident that like, hey, we had done this with Judgment Day. It made sense for Dom's story. We can now reference that because of the entire time it was supposed to be the acknowledgement ceremony, not this trial of Sami Zayn. I'm kind of curious like how all that would have played out.
I wonder what, in a macro sense, what story beats from the acknowledgement ceremony were kind of carried over to the Sami Zayn.
Would there have been the Sami Zayn trial like elements in the acknowledgement ceremony?
Yeah.
I don't know. Because this was really good, and for them to have changed it because travel arrangements couldn't be met. Maybe they were planning on doing the trial on SmackDown.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
That could be. But no, regardless, it's interesting how, they set stuff up and then they reference it later on, which is what wrestling, long-term storytelling in wrestling can be. And my God, man, for too long, we just didn't get it.
Yep.
The trial seemed to run a little long, according to Fightful Select. That's why we got probably the biggest travesty of the night, and that was the steel cage match between Becky and Becky Lynch and Bayley was literally like not cut, but the match was cut. They did. So they brought down the steel cage, and Damage Control takes out Becky
before the bell rings. Yeah,
before the bell rings, and then there's just no match. Damage Control ends up going up to the top of the cage and celebrating. Larson, we were talking about it extensively in the pre-show. So many other things that they did that could have been cut that wouldn't have cut, because they're never going to cut the legend stuff because it's a nostalgia show.
Yeah.
But there were other things. They had a really terrific match between Imperium, Seth Rollins, and Street Profits that honestly wasn't necessary. The cage match was necessary. They had a whole match between Lashley and Austin Theory that was set up just for Brock Lesnar to come in and set up a match between him and Lashley probably at Mania. That the entirety of that match really in the end wasn't necessary if you want that story beat. Mm-hmm. There were plenty of things that they could have cut, but they cut the cage match with like two of the biggest stars that are sort of like above title at this point in the women's division. That was a big bummer. I wish that should have gone down different.
Same. And yeah, for them to cut the cage match from the show when it was advertised, and it was probably the most important match on the card scheduled for the night. Mm-hmm. To have them just to say, no, we'll just do the attack and then cut the actual match.
Yeah.
It's pretty ridiculous. And rightly, WWE's been getting a lot of flack on social media for doing that. Yeah, there's other stuff they could have taken out of the show. There's segments, even with Legends, may not cut the entire segment, shorten them. You know, the DX stuff. Yeah, it was entertaining for the most part. Did it need to be as long as it was? No. They could have cut that down. The Miz promo and then Kevin Owens attacking him and then dropping a promo. Didn't really need that. You know, there's little bits throughout the show you could have taken out. And I don't know if it had been added all together, but enough time to do the full-on cage match. But if you at least cut down the match you mentioned, you get your time.
Yeah.
And it seemed weird right away when it wasn't the main event. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right, yeah.
Which is what I thought it was going to be. You know, give Bayley and Becky 20 minutes inside a cage. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty great.
And you get a pay-per-view quality match there on Raw, and that's something people are going to tune in for.
That's sort of the point of Raw. That's what I would have figured this would have been, because like, holy shit, that's a big match. And yeah, I kind of agree. It should have been the main event. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was disappointing that they couldn't, that they elected to do that one short. But you know, I don't know, given like you said, they've been taking a lot of flack on social media. Maybe this is something they'll learn from and get it better next time.
Yeah, I hope so.
I understand that, you know, in the heat of doing live TV, as Triple H said last night, you know, it's not easy.
This booking stuff ain't easy.
This booking stuff ain't easy. But man, that's like that should be kind of untouchable. You know, that match should have been untouchable.
I mean, there's 4 segments that should have been given as much, you know. You book around those 4 segments. It's the trial of Sami Zayn. It's the tag match. It's Lashley in Theory. Because it's a title match. You should give that time.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And then it's the cage match.
Yeah.
And you fit everything in else around those 4 segments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Those should be the 4 priority segments right there.
If the trial goes long, then you find something somewhere else to cut. I mean, you just say, okay, Imperium, Seth, and Street Profits, you guys, or you do Seth versus Gunther and you wonk the finish after 5 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
It's like give people a taste of Seth versus Gunther because people want to see that shit.
Oh, heck yeah.
I'd love to see that one day.
Heck yeah.
And then, of course, as you mentioned, or as we mentioned, Brock Lesnar returned at the end of the United States Championship match. I mean, you know, we're coming up, obviously, on the Rumble this weekend. Do you expect, because Lashley said he's going to be in the Rumble, you think Brock's going to make an appearance in the Rumble? They're going to, Lashley's going to take him out, perhaps?
Yeah, or vice versa. Yeah, something like that's going to happen. Yep, that's the, Isn't this kind of weird that the Rumble's coming up this weekend, but it doesn't necessarily feel like Rumble season?
Well, they showed the freaking match card for the Rumble, and like half the participants are vacant.
Yeah.
Which either bodes well for NXT or Legends, or I guess SmackDown when a bunch of people are going to be like, oh shit, I'd like to be in this Rumble.
Yeah, no, it's a bummer they didn't do more qualifying matches, because you do one qualifying match in the 4 weeks leading up to the Rumble. It's like, oh yeah, it's Rumble season, Rumble's happening.
Yeah,
and then it makes it seem like every spot in the Rumble is precious.
Yeah, I know.
That's
Didn't they do like one?
Fight for it. They did one. They did Top Dollar versus Ricochet. And that
Ricochet. That was the only one. And at the time, we're like, oh, cool, they're doing qualifying matches. Yeah, and then Triple H, we don't need any more of those.
It's pretty good Triple H day.
That's all right. It's
pretty
Lacey said my voice has changed.
That could be. You do Triple H so much, you start sounding more like him.
I don't really do them that often.
At least once a week.
But I wonder, it's because like my vocal cords were starting to act up on me.
Yeah.
And so I think I do my voice a little bit different these days, but I sort of do it out of necessity.
Could be. You know, you watch one of our shows from 2018, 2019. Yeah, we do sound different.
Didn't Maggie say that the other day?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, you guys sound different. It's like, yeah, dude.
So I was watching, came across one, I think, from 2019, and I almost talked in a whisper. I was very quiet.
Now you're loud and aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, it's because we were
Pandemic
in the office.
has hardened
like,
you,
we
son.
have neighbors, and don't want people knocking on the door. They're being too loud. Here I'm at home. It doesn't matter.
Remember when that happened? Oh, man. She's like, I got a spa downstairs. Yeah, we got a pretty intense game of fun wrestling going on up here lately.
Yeah, I know. I mean, how are we not supposed to get excited about this? You see Rawgate Mutant here?
Rawgate Mutant is fighting New Drew, lady.
I mean,
what do you want us to do? Come on now.
This is a money match.
This is real emotion.
It really is. All right, here we go. Raw kicked off. Raw 30 kicked off with, oh, God.
This is hilarious. It was a match between Hulk Hogan and his microphone. And microphone says, doesn't work for me, brother.
The mic was celebrating Fuck Hulk Hogan Day, which is every day.
Yeah.
So Hogan comes out, Jimmy Hart, and then just hypes up the show. Yeah, he didn't really say much of anything.
Well, it kept on cutting out. So I was like, yeah. I was just more focused on the mic cutting out than what he had to say. Or was he going to say?
Well, even what he had to say wasn't...
Pasta Mania is running wild on you, brother.
Exactly. So then we get a video package.
Hold on. Organ Grinder here in chat says, smoking and impersonating Triple H are bad for your throat. Do people think I'm a smoker?
Wow.
That'd be weird, man. Sitting here. Hold on, Larson.
I know.
If this is like the 60s, we'd totally be sitting here smoking, man.
Probably.
Yeah.
Heck, even the 80s, maybe.
Yeah.
So then we get a video package, with a bunch of highlights from the 30 years of Raw. And then we get the Bloodline coming down the ring. It's time for the trial of Sami Zayn. So there's a table in the ring. Roman, of course, sits at the head. Usos sit on, if you're looking at the screen, the right side. Sammy is by himself, looking nervous as all get out.
Oh, yeah.
On the left, and Heyman is standing up. He's got both of Roman's titles on his shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
And so Roman starts, says, Philadelphia, acknowledge me. Says, let's get right down to business. And hands the mic over to Heyman.
So the crowd starts just chanting EC Dub, EC Dub. Well, yeah. Paul Heyman's going to be a bad guy in this segment, so he pretty much shuts that down pretty quickly. He says, my tribal chief, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, my name is Paul Heyman, and I noticed a moment ago you all had a chant of 3 letters very near and dear to me. And Philly's showing all sorts of love for Heyman. He says, my tribal chief, ECW is dead, and I wish the same for Sami Zayn. It's like, oh, that's where this is going. So the crowd starts chanting for Sammy. He calls Sammy basically a traitor in Samoan, and calls him a conspirator with Kevin Owens since day one. He's been leading us on the field to feel good about how much he belongs. He's been making us feel like the fans of the Philadelphia Eagles and how they'll get massacred by Brock Purdy and the 49ers, which was a great moment there.
That was pretty great, yeah.
And he says, oh, my tribal chief, people of the jury, this is open and shut. I have exhibits A through P. I can stop with 4 pieces of footage that demonstrate that Sami Zayn is guilty as charged. The prosecution presents our evidence. So he rolls a bunch of clips of the Usos attacking Drew in August. Backstage, Sammy runs away and he hides from Drew. Later on, there's that moment when Sammy refuses to use the chair during a match on Kevin Owens. They show the War Games one where Sammy's on top of the cage and not celebrating with the bloodline and calls out Sammy doing he actually does like a forever thing.
Yeah.
He says, then it shows Sammy on the microphone during a segment in the ring, and he sort of brushes past Roman and shoulder checks him a little bit. Mm-hmm. So again, this is all stuff that they have set up for this moment. He says the old high school shoulder block. What's next? You want to castrate his sons, euthanize his father, all to become head of the table. You assaulted the head of the table. You're guilty of assault, if nothing else. And I beg of you to find this rat bastard guilty as charged. This is rough. This is really, really rough stuff.
Yeah,
so then
Sammy's sitting there. So Sammy's, like the rest of the bloodline is sitting around the table, and Sammy is, pushed back away from the table by himself, almost sitting near the ropes.
Right. Yeah.
Like there's so much distance between them in this scene, just visually.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
The story is represented right there. And Sammy is just beside himself. So Heyman wraps up. Sammy gets out of his chair and says, I had a whole defense all lined up and laid out in my head. And what I didn't count on is how I feel. Paul, hearing you say it to my face, and after every time you hugged me and celebrated with me, it hurts. It hurts so much watching you carefully craft this. What do you think I'm doing? You think I'm doing all this? The fact that you think that hurts after everything, the fact that you don't see it, but the people see it, but you may start chanting Sami Uso, but you make me sit here and put me on trial to defend myself, that hurts. So I guess what I'm saying is my defense is I have no defense. He puts the mic down and sits back down.
And he's very emotional during this. He's like, I have no defense. So Roman gets pissed. He says, let me get this straight. You don't have a defense? You have such a huge ego, you don't care? I give you opportunity after opportunity. This is the respect you show me? Solo. So we're about to get the execution bit.
Yeah.
Solo comes over. He walks behind Sammy. He puts up his spike thumb. And he's just about to, again, amazing TV direction here because you're just on Solo and Sammy. Mm-hmm. He goes in for it. An arm comes in, and it's Jay.
Yeah.
So Jay saves him, and everybody's like, holy shit. And I don't know where he was positioned for the live crowd exactly. I'm kind of curious what that would have looked like. Mm-hmm. But there was a great, and I apologize, but somebody on Twitter had noted the bit from last week when it was Sammy versus Kevin Owens, and Solo did the jump onto Kevin on the table, and the Twitter account had noted, some of these WWE replays are great because you didn't see this in the broadcast, but from this angle, you can see Sammy sort of instinctively, like sort of make a movement like he's going to save Kevin Owens, but he steps back. Mm-hmm. And, but anyways, and so I'm kind of curious, like what Jay's movements were here. Anyways, so Jay says to Roman, he's like, chill. He says, look, no disrespect. I have my own footage made up last night. So he took time out of his night and came up with Sammy's defense in advance of this. Mm-hmm. And it shows a bunch of moments where Sammy helped out the Usos, helped them beating RK Bro. It shows Drew hitting Sammy with the Claymore, defending Roman. It shows him taking a chair shot for Solo, pushing him out of the way. And then it shows him helping the Usos beat the Brutes. And then War Games, where Sammy stopped the pin on Roman Reigns and then hit Owens in the balls for the bloodline.
Yeah.
And so Sammy's like all tearing up. He's getting emotional over this.
This was so good.
And Jay says, it's right there on tape, on film for everybody to see. He took so many bullets from me. You, the whole bloodline. My dog is basically bulletproof. He says, Sammy, everybody knows I despised you, but what did you do, Oos? You saw the good in me and never gave up, and that's what family do. He says, that tape demonstrates loyalty and love to this family. He says, I love you, Sammy, like a brother, 100. He says, if you don't want Sammy to stay in the bloodline, so if you want Sammy to stay in the bloodline, throw your ones to the sky. And Jimmy and Jay, both the Usos do.
Yeah, and the whole crowd does, yeah.
The whole crowd does. They start chanting Sami Uso. Roman stands up and says, as your tribal chief and the head of the table, I find you, Sami Zayn, not guilty. For now. He says, I want you to look at Jay and thank him because he bought you more time. And in the meantime, finish out tonight, make the bloodline proud, and then I don't want to see you until Saturday. I want nothing. Go home, and I'll see you at the Rumble, and that's where you deliver your final test, and then we'll see if Sami Zayn really is bloodline or not. They all walk off. Jay puts a lay on Sammy and hugs him. Just incredible stuff. Larson,
really
what's going to be the final test at the Rumble? What's going to be this story beat?
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is Roman during his match with Kevin Owens, essentially having Sammy put an end to him to deliver the final blow that will secure Roman the win. And it'll just be Roman, it'll be Kevin Owens, it'll be Sami Zayn. There'll probably be a ref bump, so Sammy can interfere or whatever, not get Roman DQ'd. And it's no other distractions, no one else getting involved. It's literally Roman telling Sammy to do this. And if Sammy hesitates, if he doesn't do it, he's out.
Here's one thing you said before, though, when it came to the Sammy Kevin Owens bloodline thing from last week. When Sammy is clear about his job, he has no problem low blowing Kevin Owens, giving him a haluva kick, feeding him to the bloodline, right? It's got to be something that Sammy's not. He's fine beating the crap out of Kevin Owens. He's okay with that. In fact, after this trial and after winning the tag titles with Jey Uso, I just don't know what this could be. That is, because it's going to be more than, hey, beat up Kevin Owens. Hey, take a chair to him. It's got to be something more than that, and I don't know what it's going to be.
I mean, the thing that seemed to really sting Sammy the most was when he was deprived his win over Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
So, I mean, is Roman going to put him in another match against Kevin Owens to start the show or something?
I don't know, man.
And give Sammy another opportunity to essentially say, you get the win or you soften him up.
Yeah. Man,
get a repeat of what we saw on SmackDown, where Sammy has to make decision what's more important to him: soften up Kevin Owens for Roman, or
but that's a no-brainer. Like unless something about this trial. But the thing about the trial is that Jay made him a made man, basically. Like he just has to get through this last thing, and he's in. And I don't know if Sammy would come away from this trial with a bad taste in his mouth because of what happened with Jay. Like he won the titles with him. That's like, it'd be one thing if Sammy was sent away at the end of the trial.
Yeah.
And he would say, okay, you need to go away for now. Then Sammy can stew on, man, Jay has my back, but seemingly, like, besides Jay and Jimmy, like nobody, like Roman doesn't want me in this.
Yeah.
But like he won that, like he won the title with Jay.
Yeah.
That means he's on, in my opinion, he's on board. He'll do what Roman wants him to do. Yeah. I'm just thinking, what is so vile that he's going to cause?
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting though that Roman's fear is that Sammy's going to take the bloodline from him, but by Roman's actions, that's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. By the end of all this, the Usos are going to have Sammy's back and not Roman.
Man, I'm just curious to see how this plays out. So after that, commentary runs down the events of the night, and what they claim was going to be the first female cage match on Raw in 19 years. Well, we're going to have to keep on waiting for that one, huh?
Yep. Then we got the Raw Tag Team title bout, Usos versus Judgment Day. So watching the show, you're already on such an emotional kind of it's already been such an emotional roller coaster. You're like, oh gosh, this match is next. And you could see, given what just happened with Jay and Jimmy, having Sammy's back, oh gosh, is Sammy going to cost them the tag titles and then send him right back to square one? That dark cloud is hanging over this match from the opening bell.
Yeah.
And it's only amplified about 2/3 of the way through where Jimmy hits a dive over the top on Priest and starts selling knee. His ref comes out, throws up the X, trainers come out, Pierce comes out as well, and doing the same thing he did with the Judgment Day match when Finn got his ribs hurt. It's like, if you can't compete, we're going to count that as an L. You lose. And in this case, he said, not only do you lose the titles, which is something he just completely made up. It's fictions. Never happened.
Yeah.
And so Sammy goes, wait, I got a solution. You got one Uso down. Sammy Uso's good to go. Let me be Jay's partner. And so the crowd pops huge. Pierce says, all right, continue the match.
He said, but Sammy Uso is good to go.
Yeah.
And that fucking like Bruce Willis Die Hard shit really got the crowd going.
It really did. And he's wearing his t-shirt. He's wearing just like regular pants and tennis shoes. He's not in his wrestling gear.
Yeah.
So every near fall on Sammy was basically, oh God, is this going to be it? Just waiting for that shoe to drop where that one thing happens that's going to get him kicked out of the bloodline. And was that going to happen tonight after just what we saw at the trial? And it wasn't. He helped lead his team to victory. So down towards the finish, Dom sets up Sammy for a 619. Jay tags in, though. Super kicks Dom and Priest. But then Rhea gets in the ring as he turns around but delivers super kicks. So he thinks it's either Dom or Priest. Jay holds back. Dom then drop kicks Jay into the ropes, hits a 619, goes up for a frog splash, hits it, gets a 2 count because Sammy breaks it up. So Priest is sent into the post, and then Dom dumps Sammy out of the ring. Jay lifts up Dom. Sammy tags in, and they hit a 1D.
That was amazing. God,
to get the win.
So
Sammy covers to get the win. They retain the tag titles, and Jay's got the Raw tag title. Sammy's got the SmackDown one. They do a pose together.
Oh man, they did like the Usos.
They turn towards A-Cam and hold the belts.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was amazing.
And then Sammy gets his moment, and then he hands the belts back over to Jay.
Yeah.
And then Roman's backstage, and he says, "I don't want to see him until Saturday."
Man, dude. I mean, I see somebody here in chat says something along the lines of Sammy and the Usos are going to split off together. Man, I don't know. I don't know how this plays out. I love it though, because every time you think, oh, it's going to be a pretty simple thing, like they throw another wrench in it. That's why it's so good. Mm-hmm. So anyways, after that, we got JBL and Corbin. They're backstage, and the Godfather is he's the doorman for the Legends Poker tournament, the APA tournament. He asked JBL who the Stooge is, and he's like, oh, it's Baron Corbin. He's like, Barry Corbin? He's not on the list. JBL's, all right, well, let me speak to the owner. They go to the door, and Farouk comes out. There's an APA sign on it. He hugs, and he's like, hey, who's your Stooge? And he's like, can you check the list again? It's Baron Corbin. And then they pull out a bunch of money and hand it over, and Farouk's like, oh, there he is. He's right there. So they go through. It's the APA door, so it's just the door frame in the door. Yeah. Which is pretty funny. And then Baron's like, yeah, it smells like money in here. And then it's just a mix of legends and other wrestlers. Current talent, yeah.
Yeah, the Gallows and Anderson, Good Brothers are in there. Bunch of people.
But one person who's not in there is LA Knight. It's his time now. Yeah, it's my game. He says, let me talk to you. Last Friday on SmackDown, Bray brought back Firefly Funhouse. Oh, yippee! A grown man incel playing with puppets and scary music. I'm supposed to be afraid. Meanwhile, this guy living on past glory, and I was thinking Raw turns 30, and those legends back there living on past glory. If any of those legends have a tingle in their groin, yeah, I'll give you a taste of the Royal Rumble, yeah. And then we get the Undertaker's dong.
Yeah. So he comes to the ring. Well, lights go out. They come back up. It's American Badass Undertaker. We get Kid Rock Boo theme rather than Limp Bizkit.
We want rolling.
So he rides the ring. Seemed like it takes a while for him to get his bike going. Eventually he rides down to the ring, though. Does a lap around. And then LA Knight says, cut the music. Says, before we take this anywhere, because at this point, Undertaker's in the ring, and LA Knight's out of there. He's on the ramp.
Yeah.
And he says, I heard what you said on the Joe Rogan show about the locker room being soft, and I agree with you. The top of that list is Bray Wyatt, but I don't fit under that umbrella.
Yeah.
But you give me a chance to do something. The irony of the headline we can make. LA Knight sends Undertaker to the Undertaker, and he's so pleased with that.
And he's so tickled with his own joke.
He says, but I'm going to give you a pass to live another day and enjoy retirement, but watch the pitch black match. They'll be calling me the Lord of Darkness. The lights go out. At this point, he's like basically on his way backstage. Lights go out. Bray's music hits. He appears behind LA with the lantern and kind of backs him back down towards the ring.
Yeah.
So he gets in the ring, and Undertaker grabs him by the throat.
Yeah.
And then Bray gets up on the apron. Bray and Undertaker share a glance. Bray gets in the ring. Taker pushes LA Knight towards him. Sister Abigail. And then Taker walks up to Bray, whispers something in his ear, and then gets on his bike. Little trouble starting it, and rides backstage.
Yeah, the bit with him and Bray was really fucking cool.
Mm-hmm.
It was really cool. I like that. And then I think Undertaker himself tweeted out, like, I don't know, moments like these
cherish it or something.
Cherish it or memories or something like that. I don't know. It was it was nice and poignant. You know, it might have been something like, hey, Bray, I'm thinking of starting a fan time. It's like, oh, wow. I don't know about that, or maybe I do. Anyways, so we cut back to the poker game. Corbin's there with Alpha Academy, DDP.
Bang.
And Medusa, Alundra Blaze, friendo of the show. She's got a full house. DDP says he has a straight flush and shouts, bang!
Not just any straight flush, diamonds.
Yeah, exactly. So he grabs the chips. We cut to the steel cage lowering. Damage Control's music hits. We go to the commercial break. But then, so Becky comes out. And then Damage Control just attacks Becky. And then they send her door into the face, send her in the cage. Dakota gets a chain. She punches Becky, shove her in the ring, lock all four of them inside. And then they triple team Becky. Pierce comes out, starts screaming at them. They help Io hit a moonsault. Pierce opens the cage with some bolt cutters. And then they get another double team move in. And then all three of Damage Control climb the cage and taunt the refs as Pierce and a couple refs and some trainers get in the ring and take care of Becky. I thought for sure that Becky would be like, hey, I want, this needs to be in the main event or something like that.
Yeah.
But then they just never, they never did it.
Yeah, they did the commercial. Like, oh, maybe they'll come back and Becky will get the mic and challenge him. Say, no, this match is going to do it, but it's still going to happen. Sorry. And then it just didn't.
Yeah.
Then we get DX, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Road Dogg, X-Pac, and Kurt Angle coming to the ring. I'm like, why is Kurt Angle there?
What is he has his own theme. He's got his own
but we don't hear that. The crowd doesn't get to sing.
Right, yeah.
So Road Dogg gets on the mic first. Says, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, DX proudly brings to you 6-time tag champs. He starts this whole thing and he stops and he turns and sees Kurt there and he's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing here?
I always wanted to be in DX. And then he takes off his shirt. He's got a DX shirt underneath.
Yeah, and the Triple H asks him, Steve, you want to do Triple H since you do his voice so well?
I mean, you talk to him all the time, so maybe let's try your Triple H.
I'm not, you know me, I'm not an impressions guy. I don't do those.
All right, I'll do what I can. All right, so Triple H gets a mic. He says, hold on a second. If you're going to be in DX. What?
That's Stone Cold.
That's I don't even know what this is. If you're going to be in DX, you have to pass it.
Undertaker, but...
All right, if you're going to be in DX,
you're just avoiding it. You're avoiding it. Anyways, all I'll do is says, hold on. If you're going to be in DX, you got to pass the test. Are you ready? Never mind. And so he asked the crowd, are you ready? And they start that thing. They're interrupted by Imperium.
Yeah.
So Gunther, Vinci, Kaiser, they come to the ring. And, of course, they're disgusted by DX's mere presence. Kaiser says, shame on you for all the filth and nonsense. Gunther says, look at you. You bunch of degenerates celebrating what? Making a mockery of the sport? We are Imperium, here to restore the honor of the sport. We kick you out of the ring unless you do something about it. So Triple H steps up and goes, yeah, I'm retired. I'm not doing this.
I'm retired. I'm not going to do it.
And then each member of DX lists off some excuse why they're not going to do it. Triple H, HBK is too old. X-Pac has shin splints. Yeah. Road Dogg makes some motions like, who am I kidding?
And then Triple H says, get back there, Butterbean.
Yeah, and so they all huddle up, and they all kind of look at Kurt. And they're like, all right, Kurt says he'll fight you. And Kurt says, no, I won't.
Not going to do that.
And then Triple H pretty much says, we're in a real tight spot. If only there was someone that was willing to come down here and fight. Burn it down. Here comes Seth Rollins.
Seth Rollins comes down. DX is all singing his song. So he comes down. And X-Pac says, okay, so there's one of you and three of them. If only there's a team to help step up. And the Street Profits come out. They have some really cool Philadelphia 76ers style gear. They join everybody in the ring. And they're all like, okay, so what do we do now, Triple H? Like, why is everybody looking at me? He says, this booking stuff isn't easy. If only there was someone who could come out here and make sense of this. So that brings out Teddy Long. He says, hold on a minute, playa. I got a perfect idea. Imperium tonight, you're going to face the Street Profits and Rollins in a 6-man. And then HBK says, we need somebody to keep it under control. And then they all huddle up, and Kurt's like, hey, I have an idea. And they're like, don't interrupt. He says, I got an idea. And they're like, don't interrupt. And then he says, guys, look. And then he pulls off the DX shirt. He's got this really cool red, white, and blue referee shirt on. Mm-hmm. And so he's going to be the special guest referee.
Yep. And it is official. Match happens, and they had Lawler join commentary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then, Seth and the Street Profits get the win in this one. Yep. I believe it's Vinci that takes the pin. Again, fun enough match, but in terms of overall story here, this is like in terms of storyline implications, there ain't much here, as opposed to Bayley and Becky. Yeah, Seth hits a pedigree. Ford falls with a huge frog splash, and then Seth hits a stomp. Oh, sorry, pedigree from Seth, spine buster from Dawkins, frog splash from Montez, and then Seth with the stomp on Vinci all to get the win.
Yep. After that, let's see.
We're back
here.
at the poker game after that.
Yeah,
and so
that's
it's
right.
DiBiase and it's Corbin. Corbin wins the hand. He's collecting his pot. And then DiBiase steps off frame, comes back with IRS.
Mm-hmm.
And so then he's taking all of Corbin's winnings. And Corbin's like, I don't get to keep any of it. And then IRS hands him a $100 bill, and that's what he gets. And then Ron Simmons walks in.
Says, damn. Backstage, we've got Kathy Kelly with Lashley. She's like, why is this a no DQ? And he basically says, no DQ means no excuses and no way out. He can't get DQ'd, and I can get away with what I want to do tonight. He says, I'm through with Brock and that silly suspension. I'm going to rip Theory apart. Then MVP walks up and says, champ. He says, I have no doubt you're going to get your title back. And after that, we hit the VIP lounge, hit the bottle, maybe make some new friends. Oh, man. Bobby says, I didn't need you and Amas's help, and I don't need it tonight. Let me handle my business. And he says, okay, go handle your business. Wink, wink. Ric Flair comes out next. Woo! He says, Philadelphia, what's up? Celebrating 30 years of Raw. Woo! You keep me style and profile. Diamonds are forever, so's Monday Night Raw. I'm working on my Flair. I don't think it needs work. It needs work. Anyways, he introduces Charlotte Flair, in his mind, the greatest woman champion in the history of WWE. So she comes out, looks like $1 million as champion. Comes down to the ring. She says, it was here on Raw where we revolutionized women's wrestling. I went from a diva to a 14-time world champion, facing names like Ronda Rousey, Rhea, Asuka, the Bellas. They helped me get to where I need to be. I may be on SmackDown, but Raw is always my home. That brings out the current Raw Women's Champion, Bianca Belair. She says, you know, Charlotte, I respect you. Do what you do, but not here. This is my show, my home, and I do whatever it takes to make sure Raw is the best show on television. That brings out Sonya Deville. She says, sorry to break this up, but tonight is historic and the two of you are just talking about yourselves. She says, Charlotte, was it necessary to get Daddy to fly in for a show you're not wanted on? She says, Bianca, you don't think people tune in just for you, right? What about the people who don't get the spotlight every week? People like me. She says, you realize I used to run this show. I was Raw GM for a year. Where's my recognition? Charlotte says, you know, I owe Sonya one for the cheap shot, but how about you handle her? Because this is your show. And then we get that match. We get Sonya Deville versus Bianca Belair. Pretty easy match here for Bianca Belair. She hits a KOD to get the win.
Afterwards, Bianca grabs the mic, says, that was only a preview. What I'm going to do to Alexa Bliss. She can bring Bray, Uncle Howdy, whatever. Nothing is stopping me from hearing, and still your women's champion. The Alexa's on the Tron, interrupts and says, I am your obstacle, and if everyone would leave me alone, they'd see that. I don't need anyone to scratch your face off, but I'll leave your eyes so you can see me leave with the Raw Women's Championship. So it starts out like a close-up of her. So you think she's talking to the camera. Camera pulls back. She's speaking to herself in the mirror.
Yeah.
And then she turns around towards camera for the last line.
Given that this is probably going to be the go-home segment for that match because all we got left is SmackDown. What's your thoughts on this match? Do you think this is going to end up with a wonky finish? Is it going to be like Uncle Howdy makes some sort of appearance, but Bianca hits a KOD anyways, and it's like, oh, it doesn't matter because Alexa Bliss is transforming into like an Uncle Howdy type character? They going to do something weird with this match, or is it going to be just lull Bianca wins?
I mean, they should do something more interesting than lull Bianca wins, simply for the reason that it'll advance the story.
Yeah.
I mean, is it a situation where maybe we see an Uncle Howdy and that ends up costing Alexa? Who knows? I mean, one time, a couple people are saying KOD to Uncle Howdy. I'd be about that.
That'd be rad.
But last time that Uncle Howdy's appeared in, or one of the previous times Uncle Howdy's appeared in the audience, Alexa just kind of like something in her snap and she attacked the ref. Or we get something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know.
I mean, I think I firmly believe Bianca's going to win, but it's going to be one of those where it's like a weird win, where Alexa just doesn't care. And I feel like they're probably going to keep advancing this story. They'll probably blow it off at like Elimination Chamber, perhaps. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be.
But I don't know. Regardless of what happens with it, I would like to see Bliss sort of, I don't know, embrace the Bliss we saw at WrestleMania from a couple of years ago when she showed up in that box and she looked all cool and shit. You know, I'm interested to see what they're going to do with her.
Yeah. Yep. Some advancement would be cool.
Yeah, right.
Then we got a new Cody video package. Kind of picked up where the last one did, but also kind of like a culmination of all the previous video packages. Mm-hmm. You know, it's all leading to him winning the Rumble. If after you watch this and you still think Cody isn't winning the Rumble, go back and watch these again. Cody's totally winning the Rumble.
Yeah. No, he's winning that thing. I mean, it's not going to be whoever wins the Rumble is not going to be involved in Roman Reigns' stuff. So like, you know, I don't know what if Stone Cold says no. Like, I mean, do you think that they're gonna go to Cody for Roman? I just don't see it now. They seem to want like a big, you know, legend name. Yeah. But they're so few and far between. They should get Undertaker.
I mean, Roman's already beat him though.
Yeah, I know. We were there. Like,
offer Shawn Michaels a ton of money.
He freaking retired him. Like we thought.
Well, temporarily.
And then he decided to come. Man, that was the most retirement shit I've ever seen.
I know.
He like lowered into the ground. He left his duster and his hat.
I know.
Man. And then he had to watch the match back.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not happy with this one. You know what'll fix this? A match with
matches.
A match with Goldberg. That'll be a good one. Oh man.
Then we get a Miz promo. And he says, 30 years of Raw, where's my Miz TV, my championship match celebration of all my moments on Raw, and the first ever two-time Grand Slam champ, and deserve my Raw 30 moment. Kevin Owens comes to the ring, stunner, grabs the mic, says, Roman, you might have said Sammy isn't guilty, but what you're guilty of is having held the WWE Universal title. Mm-hmm. He mentions one of the titles, not both of them.
You think they're prepping us for that, huh? They're starting to put that in the language. I think you're right about that.
Been holding that title hostage for more than 2 years, and on Sunday at the Rumble, I give you and everyone my word that I'll do everything to change that and take that title and give the people a champ they can be proud of, and I guarantee you I will keep fighting until I have nothing left. Saturday, I am taking the title from you or die trying, and Miz kind of stumbles up, bang, stunner again.
Trying to put these pieces together with Owens and Zayn and Roman and the Usos.
I think the answer is that Roman's going to beat Shane McMahon at WrestleMania.
Oh my God. Hey, Triple H in his returns, you know, Vince McMahon fired Shane. I'm going to bring back Shane. Yeah. Anyways, A-Town down. Austin Theory comes to the ring. Raw rolls on. We get Austin Theory versus Bobby Lashley. This is a no DQ match. So, of course, we had, what do we have? Like a chair,
tables.
Yeah.
Fire extinguisher.
Oh, yeah, we had the fire extinguisher. That's right, yeah. So anyways, towards the finish, Lashley hits a superplex off the top. There's a table set up in the corner, and then one set up like normally near the other corner. They start slugging it away as Lashley hits a Dominator and loads up for a spear. Theory hits a knee and low blows Lashley. When Lashley puts on the Hurt Lock, Lashley gets grabbed and thrown through was it a table?
Lashley no, it wasn't a table. I don't remember he was thrown through. Both the tables were... Oh, maybe it was. The table in the corner. The table set up flat.
Okay. And then Brock comes out. So Brock comes out. It's Cowboy Brock's got a feather in his hat and a snake in his boot. F5's Lashley. Then he F5's Theory onto Lashley. So that this is like twice now that Theory just happened to be on top of somebody to get win.
To get the win, I know.
They are doing Austin Theory no favor. Maybe this John Cena thing is just supposed to break it wide open for Austin Theory, if that's the case.
Why wait till
that happens? About Theory versus Roman, I know they did that already, but that one was really lame. They did like a bunch of roll-ups and stuff.
Yeah.
I guess there's no story to go back to that, though, huh?
Oh, you mean Cena and Roman?
Sorry, Cena and Roman to do that, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Cena's whole thing is just takes one lucky roll-up. 1, 2, 3, and I win.
That was like the lamest story they could have done.
It really was. It really was. It's pretty much Cena saying at this point in my career, I can't beat you unless I get lucky.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
Which is like, John Cena's like one of the most, it's tied to being the most, in WWE's universe, the most decorated champion, world champion there is. And he's saying that he needs to get lucky to beat Roman.
Yeah. Yeah, that was lame. Yeah, I don't know. What other? I mean, are there any other?
The only other a retired legend I can think of is Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, but man, I don't know. The fact that last night, yeah.
As much as I like Shawn Michaels is probably my favorite wrestler of all time.
Yeah, sure.
Objectively, he's not on the same level in terms of fame and mainstream popularity as The Rock and Stone Cold.
Yeah.
It's not.
Did they ever do during the Tribal Chief run? You know me, I have giant gaps in my memory. Did they do Orton Roman?
No.
I mean, I know he's injured and everything, but I was just thinking if he were to be back for WrestleMania, like Roman Orton that's a big name right there.
I mean, Lou has the answer. Bring in Sid.
You know, I think that for the right price, maybe he'd consider it. You know, I mean, he's got to make it. He's main event at WrestleMania.
He has
like twice, hasn't he? Did he main event
against
with Hogan?
Yeah, with Hogan and Taker. Yeah,
and then Taker. Yeah, and he pooped his pants. He did everything in WrestleMania, man. He's the new Mr. WrestleMania, right?
Yeah, Mr. WrestleMania, Sid.
Yeah. Anyways,
filling out his resume as the greatest of all time, Sid. I should really say Shawn Michaels is my favorite, but it's kind of a 1A, 1B situation with Sid.
Yeah. All right. We have a question thread up here on the Patreon, patreon.com.
Before we get to that, I want to mention this because it is definitely newsworthy. So even just this morning, Meltzer reported that that Mark Briscoe wouldn't be allowed by Warner Brothers Discovery to appear on AEW programming. Something changed between now and right before we started the show at 11 Pacific, because it was announced that Mark is going to be wrestling Jay Lethal on Dynamite this week. And according to Meltzer, so he tweeted, AEW just confirmed Warner Brothers Discovery changed its policy on Mark Briscoe, and he's allowed to appear going forward. So hopefully this means Wednesday, obviously, but in the future as well.
I hope we're at 196 likes. I don't know if that's going to get the job done by the time we read these questions here.
Need 4 more. So that's I'm very happy that Warner Brothers Discovery changed their minds, and they're going to let Mark Briscoe appear on Dynamite, and hopefully it's not just for Wednesday. It's hopefully, an ongoing thing where he's going to be a featured player in AEW.
I hope Tony Khan laid into somebody. That was asinine from the jump.
You got that right.
That was stupid from the get-go. It really was. All right. Let's see here. David Matushik says, since the steel cage match was canceled, do you think it'll be rescheduled?
Yeah, I don't know if it's the Rumble or afterwards. I don't know about that, but they'll do it. They'll do it.
Has Bayley or Becky declared technically for the Rumble?
No, there's only been I think on the graphic, 10, maybe less women declared for the Rumble.
Jaime Fonseca, I appreciate you being a patron.
Wow, we slipped to 257 likes.
Holy shit.
60 likes.
That went crazy.
Succession.
That was nuts. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Well, we have 682 people. Maybe they were like, oh, well, we just got here. We didn't know that you wanted likes. Jaime asked us to book a Raw XXX to be actually rated X. Oh, man. 2 words for you. Full penetration.
Oh, dear.
Sleazy Mo says if MCU's Spider-Man was to have their customary pro wrestling scene, which current former wrestler should fill the Macho Man as Bonesaw role?
Seth Rollins.
Ooh, that's good. You know who I'd give it to? Hobbs.
Oh.
Hobbs would make a killer Bonesaw.
That'd be great.
Cruz says Kurt Angle has been part of the Shield now, and a part of the Shield, and now DX. What other groups, past or present, would you like Kurt Angle to invade?
Well, he's had his own faction. He's had Team Angle as well.
Yeah, Team Angle. I'd want it to be the York Foundation.
Interesting.
Honestly, the Dangerous Alliance.
Yeah.
The talent in that group, if you take the concept of time out of the equation, oh my God. They had Austin, Rude.
Medusa.
I think they had Arn, right? Didn't they have Arn? Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's a hell of a group right there.
Oh, Tony V has a good answer here. Wyatt family.
Oh, that'd be good. Bullet Club. Let's see here. Nikyle says, name some debuts / returns you could see happening in both Royal Rumble matches. Kana, Asuka, as like evil clown Asuka.
That'd be cool.
That's the one I wanted. I want to see something. I want to see her show up and look scary as fuck.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That's what I want to see.
It'd be neat if we got some NXT call-ups.
That'd be cool.
We have Carmelo,
Von Wagner, Joe Blow, Christmas Mousepad.
There we go.
Big Body Javi. I want to see Big Body Javi.
He's coming out strumming his guitar, singing Feliz
Singing
Javidad.
Some Christmas tunes. Feliz Javidad. That is legitimately funny.
That is pretty funny. That's well done.
Yeah. Let's see here. Alex Foster, what other versions of LA Knight should help him against Bray's characters? Oh, so he says, I want like a RoboCop LA Knight.
Oh,
so
wow.
like LA Knight has his own variations to fight Bray Wyatt. Well, he has one, Max Dupree.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They have one. Other LA Knight variations. Well, he has like the super red shirt. What about blue LA Knight blue?
That's true.
He's got like the super blue LA Knight variant shirt.
Yeah. That's
instead of Uggs, he has he's got like some blue New Balance.
That's good. You know what? He should buy one of those Uncle Howdy masks off .com.
Yeah, right.
And be like, look, I'm Uncle LA Knight. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Let's see here.
We had a question here on Twitch chat from Lou NYC. Is it possible that Roman tells Sammy to screw over Jay somehow to see if Sammy is loyal to Roman? Because to be loyal to Bloodline just really means be loyal to Roman.
Ooh.
Whatever Sammy's decision is, it sows the seeds of the breakup of the Bloodline either way.
Oh, Sammy to screw over Jay?
Woo.
Oh my God, that's dark. That's gnarly, dude. After what Jay did, that's actually a really good idea.
That is good.
And he hesitates. Oh my God. Oh, he might have cracked it right there, man.
That could be it.
We had a couple super chats here. Cloud Life Smiley says, what did Taker seductively whisper in Bray's ear? We sort of talked about that already. I think it had to do something that had to do with catering backstage.
Yes, I think so. Something about the prime rib.
There's not a lot of prime rib left. You better stake your claim.
Eduardo here says, power rank every Raw theme you can remember from 98 to 2019 from worst to best. The best is the one from Raw's War with the oil drums, and that's the best.
Yeah, I like they call the one.
Yeah, that was okay. That was too. Everything else, whatever.
Listen,
really
you and I,
we're going to
do one day, we're going to do a proper tier list for this on Friendo Club TV. We're going to do that soon, I promise.
Yes.
Jose Alaguna says, did someone say climax? Oh, man.
Oh, dear.
And then we just got a new super chat. Oh, come on, YouTube. Don't do that to me. We got a super chat from...
That was the Eduardo one.
Oh, good. Okay, you got that. Okay, so going back to the Patreon here. Rich says, was it disappointing to only see one actual match the first 90 minutes of Raw? I mean, yeah, because it would have been nice to see that cage match.
Yep. Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree with that. But the trial was a great segment. I'm fine with that.
It really was.
Taking up a bunch of time. Patrick Kennedy says, what was your least favorite part of Raw?
The lack of cage match.
No cage match.
That and Hogan being on the show.
So Cameron Bartolazzo says, should Sammy be up for consideration for an Oscar? So it's not motion pictures. It would be an Emmy.
Would
be
a
thing.
Yeah.
And I would love
Primetime Emmy, because there's daytime Emmys too.
I would love WWE to try to submit Sammy for the consideration.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The Sloth King here says, what if the test is entering the Rumble at 1 and winning? Well, that if Sammy won, though, that means he'd be a direct threat to Reigns in theory, but maybe that's the test, is that Reigns wants Sammy to have a title shot and just like not do anything with it. I don't know.
I feel like here's the thing. It needs to be something that would compromise Sammy's morals. And turning on Jay is exactly it.
Yeah, that'd be a huge one. Yeah.
That's the thing. Turning on Jay. Oh, my God. Roman having Jay stands up for Sammy. He can't have that. He can't have that. Mm-hmm. Jay expressing himself. The whole point was having Jay under his thumb.
I know.
And now Jay is expressing himself?
That's twice now that Jay has seemingly defied Roman. Going back to I don't care what the tribal chief thinks.
Boy, that's who said that? Who was that?
That was Lou NYC, I believe. So Mayday says, what would lead to that, though? Because the Usos don't have a tag title match on the Rumble card as of yet.
I don't know, but it's something. Let's see here. Mondo says, odds that Sammy's final test of Saturday is related to the Royal Rumble match itself and not the Roman KO match. I mean, dude, I don't know. Like, Roman enters the Rumble at 30 and asks Sammy to eliminate himself. I just don't see it being Rumble related. You know, like, okay, Sammy's going to try his best to do something and he fails. It's not that. Because Sammy will try and he'll fail and whatever. It's got to be something that Sammy's like, oh, fuck, I have to do that? Mm-hmm. Like, I have to compromise my own beliefs? Mm-hmm. Roman's about breaking people down, manipulating them.
Yep.
Not putting him through, physical tests. You saw what happened with the Kevin Owens-Sami Zayn match. It wasn't about win this match. It was, how are you going to respond when I fuck with you?
Mm-hmm.
Jack Napier says, do you think Brock attacking Lashley is going to be Lashley's motivation to rejoin the Hurt Business?
That could be, but at the same time, I want Lashley to get a clean, decisive win over Brock.
Lashley's not the type to go running for help.
No.
And you're right. Lashley should win that match.
Oh,
he should win that match.
Absolutely. Decisively.
I mean, I don't know if you want to do... I don't think they should do this, but if they want to do like a heel versus face thing, because right now Lashley's a face, Brock's a face. If they want to do that, then I guess Lashley could go to Hurt Business. That's not what I want to see, though. Peter Lewin says, where do you think the trial of Sammy ranks in the best Raw segments of all time? That's something you and I we should do a count out on that.
All right.
That'd make for a good count out. Or even just overall best WWE segments of all time, Let's see here. Handsome Be Wonderful. Do you think Vince always liked Kevin Owens because of his T-Rex skull tattoo? They have a bond over the T-Rex.
Maybe.
That could be. Blake Whitehouse, how do we feel about a Roman versus Rikishi match at Elimination Chamber?
I mean, I guess if Rikishi could still go.
Underwhelming, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
What are you going to do, a stink face to the tribal chief? Like, if you're going to have a Rikishi match, he's got to do a stink face. He's not going to, I don't want to see his.
Yeah, Roman's not taking the stink face now.
Let's see here. What, Luis Reza, what will the Royal Rumble match card look like? What will be the opener? Women's Rumble, maybe open it?
Could be.
I think they did that last year. Does the men's Rumble usually close? Usually. There's been exceptions, I think.
Yeah, like when it was Roxy and Punk. I believe that main evented the show.
Yeah.
The year Cena won the Rumble.
I say maybe Bianca Alexa opens the show.
Yeah.
And then maybe the women's Rumble, so you get the idea that Alexa could re-enter it herself or something like that.
Yeah, that's true. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I would guess the men's Rumble is probably going to main event.
And the cool down is the pitch black match, because that's going to be horrible.
Yeah, who knows what that's going to be.
Brendan Monroe says, it's been thought that the end plan for Sammy was that him and KO would beat the Usos, but after last night, them defending him, what reason in kayfabe does Sammy have to challenge him? None. I don't think it's going to be. That's not going to be it now.
Yeah, doesn't seem like that's going to be it, no.
I don't know what the end game is now, man. I don't know.
No. Because like I said, I would not be surprised if at the end of all this, the Usos have Sammy's back.
I know, yeah.
And if that's the case, then why would Sammy go after the tag titles? Doesn't make any sense.
Ooh, here's a good question. Frozen Tape. Would y'all be as brave as Jay and stop Solo from spiking either one of y'all?
I'd like to think so.
Yeah, I think so. I'd like to think so. I wouldn't be part of the bloodline anyways.
It's too much stress.
You and I have been our own bosses for too long. I don't need some dude telling me what to do.
Don't want to work for somebody, no.
Mayor of Planet Houston, who's the heel, Bray or LA Knight? I don't know. I don't fucking know. I don't know, man. All this shit's above. It's all the complexity of humans is what Bray and LA Knight is.
Hold on. I don't feel like there's a whole lot of complexity to LA Knight.
I don't know who the heel and face is. I really don't. LA Knight's not a good guy.
No.
Runs down the crowd all the time. He calls people incels and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know who the good guy and bad guy is.
Yeah, but no, I don't think. I mean, maybe from Bray's standpoint, it's about the complexity of the human condition. But
It's like,
from LA
you
Knights,
know,
no, it's the exact opposite.
It's like Bray Wyatt versus a mannequin. Who's the good guy and bad guy? Hi, Plains Drifter. I owe you the shirt. I know. He says, how cool would it be to see Jacob Fatu join the Bloodline and Sammy and the Usos break off together? I think Fatu's still an MLW contract, but in an interview recently, he said he'd love to be in WWE.
No, he's great too.
He's building up his brand. He's doing a hell of a job doing that.
Yeah. Jacob Fatu is awesome.
I'd love to see Jacob Fatu in the Bloodline. I think that'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So I think that's. Oh, here we go. Alex Silva says Sammy has to eliminate Jay. Can't Uso eliminate him? Thank you for the super chat.
Sammy eliminating Jay from the Rumble.
I mean, there's so many moving pieces in the Rumble.
Yeah, no, I mean that for you don't even know if they're going to be at the ring at the same time. So for Roman to go to him and say that, it has to be something much more specific and directed, I feel like.
Yeah, I don't know about any of that. All right. Well, we're at almost 300 likes, so Paul's going to be very happy about that.
Yeah, I'll make him ecstatic.
He's going to be very happy about that. All right. Here we go. I got some paperwork to do. Here is Triple H with his, I don't appreciate it's just, that's toxic is what you're doing when you say, of course you do.
Of course you do. Of course. You always have paperwork, don't you?
I know. I do, legitimately. That's right. Right here.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
All right. Here we go.
Hello, hi, this is Triple H. This is Paul Levesque, better known as the King of Kings, leader of D-Generation X. Kind of like Cola. Hello, hi, co-leader with HBK. The Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. Let's get ready to suck it. What's up, Steve?
Not much. Just finishing up our recap of Raw 30 last night. Overall, pretty fun show. That opening segment, holy cow, with the trial of Sami Zayn, that was incredible stuff.
The Godfather's got nothing on me. I tell you what, I'm crafting narratives that will be talked about for decades and decades. Be remembered as true memories, not just moments, true memories. And last night, the trial of Sami Zayn, oh my God. Francis Ford Coppola, eat your heart out. Martin Scorsese, who? He can suck it.
It was good stuff. One question.
Great stuff, actually. Great stuff.
Yeah, great stuff. Hot stuff.
All-time stuff, you could call it.
I can't argue with that. One question I have to ask you, though.
Hey, I just noticed something here. Why is your bobblehead staring at me? That's weird. Your bubble, it's like staring off in the distance. There he is. Okay,
there you go.
Got to see his face. Got to see. Don't interrupt. Got to see that great face.
Thank you. Cage match last night.
What cage match? Ha 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 ha. That was a joke. I'm sorry. That was a tasteless. It
was tasteless.
I know you got questions about the cage match. Listen. Here's the deal. You want a scoop? I'll give you a scoop. This was my idea. All right. So the trial ran long, and I was like, hey, you know what? People don't need to see more DX. They want to see DX. They can find the best of DX Volume 1 on VHS. More but better. You know what I'm talking about. Yes, the greatest VHS tape ever. People don't need DX. I was going to cut us. And I was going to let the cage match go on for 30 minutes long. But then I get this damn text message. You know who. The same guy who wanted to throw Hulk Hogan out there at the beginning of the show on Fuck Hulk Hogan Day. It was Dad. And listen, here's the thing. He's back in control, all right? He's meddling. It was his decision to do the trial of Sami Zayn instead of the acknowledgement ceremony. And that's fine because that was great. I was able to do a good job. But my dad is meddling. He's back. He's cut the cage match. And I was like, but there's a million of these we can cut. We can cut DX. Like, no, everybody likes to see DX. And we're like, okay, fine. Because it was either that or I get fired and then you're back with a bunch of rematches every single week. So I'm doing what they say, passing the buck.
Yeah.
It's not my fault I didn't do it.
All right.
Wasn't my fault.
I guess.
When you doubt me, don't interrupt me and don't doubt me.
I mean, it's just...
You're like Kurt Angle last night, always interrupting me.
I don't know. Like... It's just disappointing to see, you know?
Oh, look at your sad little face right there. Oh, I didn't get to see my cage match. I'm so sad about that.
Yeah, I am sad.
Yeah, but you know what? Well, you're going to talk to my dad. You want to talk to my dad? I get him on the phone for you.
Yeah,
I get Vince. You want me to get Vince on the phone?
Yeah, sure. Put Vince on.
Yeah, I don't have Vince on the phone right now.
Does Vince even know how to use Zoom?
You called my bluff. How about
did.
this? I got JR at speed dial. How about JR?
No, I'm not talking to
He
JR.
can talk to you about his erection.
It had nothing to do with canceling the cage match.
That's
what I want to talk to whoever was responsible for that.
Are you saying you want to talk to my manager? That's the most Steve thing I've ever heard. Are you walking to a Kmart and do that shit too?
No, I don't do that. But they don't say Kmart. They don't cancel
shorts.
cage matches, do they?
I bought this pair of shorts and they're too small. So like, can I get a return? Can I talk to your manager? Like, sir, there's already a butt stain on it. And then you're like, well, I want to talk to your manager. Is that what you do at Kmart?
I don't know. Are there even Kmarts anymore?
I like that you're not denying that you have butt stains on your new shorts.
You know, honestly, I usually don't try clothes on before I wash them and wear them. I just got like, all right, there's a certain amount of element of danger though when you try on new clothes, whether they fit or not.
Yeah, I don't really have that problem. I'm like on paper, I'm like a billionaire because of the sales about to go through. So
that's true. So you could
I've got so much money.
You can buy 5 of every size, and the 5 that fit you, you keep. The other ones, you just all right, whatever.
To be honest, most of my money's going into Beyblades these days.
Still.
Anyways, how about this? On Friday, I'll arrange a call between you and Vince. You can tell him all your gripes. You can whine to him and cry to him.
Okay, I will.
Okay, you want to talk to Vince on Friday?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, you're going to talk to Vince McMahon. Set it up here on Going in Raw Wrestling Podcast. Steve versus Vince McMahon on a Zoom call. Let's see how you sack up against the old man.
All right, sure. Are you going to be on the call too?
You better not throw me under the bus.
Oh, I'm just going to give him hell for canceling the cage match and for having Hogan on the show.
No chance. How about this? How about you call Vince, and then we call JR right afterwards, and he can tell you about
JR.
He can tell you all about his erection.
JR has nothing to do with anything.
Why did you just look behind you? Who's back there? Is it Solo Sikoa ready to spike you in the head? That'd be fun to watch. I'd like to see your little leathery face get spiked.
Wow.
What? Did I just cross the line? I got 2 words for your line. Suck it.
How'd that go?
You passed the buck to Vince. He said it was Vince's call to cancel the cage match.
I'll be honest with you. That makes sense.
Well, it only makes sense if Vince is actually in charge, which we don't have any evidence that's the case.
Hold on a second. Don't have any evidence. Didn't the head of creative WWE just tell you that Vince McMahon is back in charge of creative?
Yeah, but Triple H has there's clear motive for him to say that, so he doesn't get the flack for canceling the cage match.
Oh, so he doesn't look
in
like
the face of any criticism. Vince is back in charge.
You know, my friend, in your old age, you've really turned to the conspiracy theory as your go-to.
I need clear, decisive evidence for me to think that something's going to be a certain way.
Let's review. What shape is the Earth, Larson?
Round.
It's not a donut. I saw a thing the other day that said it's donut shaped.
Who's saying it's a donut now?
I don't know. There are people saying it's a donut.
What's in the middle of the Earth, though, if it's a donut? There's a hole missing there. Where'd that hole go?
Well, it's like...
Is that the moon now?
I saw the thing. That'd be kind of cool. I saw the thing. It kind of makes sense when you look at it.
Oh, so you're the one that's a conspiracy theorist now, huh?
But no, here's the thing. Like, if you're in... The thing that doesn't work is that if you're on one particular part of the Earth, if you look up, you should be able to see more Earth if it's a donut. So that doesn't make any sense.
Did you see the thing on
people are just going crazy, I feel, man.
I know. I saw something on Twitter the other day, a news story, I think from a reputable source, about how the core of the Earth might start spinning the opposite direction.
Oh, no. When is that supposed to take place? Like in a million years?
No, like soon.
Like tomorrow?
Maybe.
Holy shit.
I didn't read. Most of my ways I ingest news is just by reading the headline.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, everything's paywall these days. It sucks.
I know.
Hold on. Before we let these people go, we're causing a panic here amongst our audience. Core of Earth. Let me see here. News. Earth's inner core could be slowing its spin. Oh, here we go. Vice says, so 5 hours ago, the Weather Channel says it could be slowing, but a day ago, Vice says it's stopped and it may be reversing direction.
Study says.
It may have paused in its rotation and reversed. A lot of people are saying this.
Yeah. It's probably all from the same study.
Earth's inner core just stopped spinning. Well, nothing's happened so far that we can tell.
Okay, so according to this Vice thing, the Earth's center pauses in reverse direction on a periodic cycle lasting about 60 to 70 years. So this isn't like a new thing. Apparently, it's just something that happens.
That sounds horrifying.
This apparently hasn't necessarily.
They could just do that.
Hasn't been like some sort of cataclysmic event.
Good Lord, could you imagine if we all just started getting flung off the Earth?
Pretty wild.
That'd be a nightmare. Yeah. I wouldn't have to pay my mortgage, though. That's cool. Anyways, that's going to do it for the show
because you and
today.
your house could be floating in outer space.
Yeah, dude. We'd probably be dead, like, instantly.
Uh-huh.
Anyways, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. And until next time, we'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Where's the end live stream button? I got to do that now. End live stream.